Hi, Max Brantley with the Arkansas Times on Friday, June 24th. This is supposed to be Arkansas news, but let's start with the news in Great Britain, which happened last night, because of course it has impact here. The British people voted by a comfortable margin to leave the European Union. It's something of a shock to everyone. They thought they would vote to stay, if by a close margin. This naturally has impact here. If you have a retirement account, yours like mine took a pretty big tumble this morning. The Dow's down 500 points. There's going to be a lot of economic uncertainty as Europe comes to grips with the new reality of an England departing the European common market. It's interesting that I think the vote there, it was underlain by some concerns about immigration, just as the current presidential election in the United States is. There's also something of this just mad as hell, not going to take it anymore sentiment that I think is playing out in the U.S. presidential race right now. Senator Tom Cotton is having it both ways. He talks dismissively of the Eurocrats who are unhappy about the departure of Britain from the European Union. You know, it's funny to have Tom Cotton talking about elites. He's nothing but an elite, a double Harvard grad who was a McKinsey consultant before he went into politics. In any event, the market did go down. Trump said some stupid things in Scotland. He said people in Scotland are cheering about the outcome. Well, of course, that's wrong. Scotland may secede from Great Britain precisely because the rest of the country voted against staying in the European Union. Scotland was for it. So was Northern Ireland. So was the city of London. But that simply wasn't enough. Let's get back to Arkansas. The state will conduct an independent analysis of some findings that perhaps pollution from a hog waste pond is leaking into the groundwater near the Buffalo River. That's good news for a coalition working to protect that river from the depredation of a hog farm. There was a hearing today in Fort Smith by federal judge P.K. Holmes for 16 lawyers that he had said he was going to punish for abusing process in the court by settling out of court in a state court, a class action lawsuit against an insurance company that had pended for a long time in his court. He questioned whether it was a good settlement for people who held insurance policies that hadn't been paid all they should have been paid. He said he's going to rethink the issues. He thinks perhaps some of the lawyers perhaps did not act in bad faith if the settlement perhaps wasn't all it could have been. He's going to think further on it. As one of the lawyers for the defense attorneys said, they've been punished quite a bit by the publicity in the press, and that's certainly true. The Little Rock police have arrested 2 men in the slaying of a customer in the Frontier Diner on Interstate 30 during the noon hour yesterday. There's some indication that perhaps the gunshot was by accident, that he was not targeted, that the robbers fled immediately after the shooting. Perhaps that wasn't intended, but the result is just as lethal and just as worthy of the capital murder charges that were filed, of course. The Highway Department is going to turn out its commissioners at a Metroplan meeting next week. They've said they have no intention to push for quick action on a rule change that would allow them to expand the freeway through Little Rock to as many as 15 lanes, or 100, and for that matter, if they wanted it to. But there's some question about it. Neighborhood activists are urging people to turn out the Metroplan meeting next Wednesday and make sure the Highway Commission doesn't plan a big end around and a quick change of the rules. There are a lot of people that are fighting this freeway plan here. Something for you to read. Take a look at an op-ed in the Arkansas Times this week. It's also online. You can see it at thearkansasblog.com. Paul Hewitt, the retired superintendent of the Fayetteville School District, he's just left for a trip to Europe, well earned after 3 years in that job, has a modest proposal, Jonathan Swiftian, if you will, about charter schools. If the Walton billionaires really want charter schools so bad, why don't they start their first experience in Bentonville, home of the Walmart billions, and charterize every single school up there? And then if that works fine, then let's bring it to Little Rock. I kind of like his idea. And something on a lighter note, very good news from the River Market today. Look for the opening next week of Indian Feast, an Indian food stand, and it's great stuff. They were passing out samples today. The chicken korma was particularly good. And finally, mark your calendars for next Friday afternoon. A group of LGBT activists is planning a kiss-in to demonstrate love and tolerance for all different types of people. And they're going to stage it in front of the office of Senator Jason Rapert of Conway and Bigelow. No friend of the LGBT community in the past. Perhaps he'll stand outside and give a couple of them a smack on the lips. Maybe not. He is known to be armed, as you may remember. I'm Max Brantley. I'll be back next week.